Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, which means today is a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive. Welcome, my name is Jason and I'm your host, and I have my son Marcus here with me.
Yellow.
Okay, he had asked if he could join me on some podcasts, and I thought it was a fun idea since we did the one with my daughter Jubilee. So he is here helping us. We are going to be talking about the hero Stingray today. So before we get into it, we are going to give a couple disclaimers. Now the information pulled today is from different sources across the internet and may not be completely complete. They do give a really good insight on the current superhero though. So like a lot of deep dives, they may have different storylines the character has been in. And some of these characters have been like extras in a lot of different storylines. It just doesn't make sense because it doesn't necessarily add or take away from the character. So I'm not necessarily including that. I may mention things here and there, but it's stuff that really gets into the meat of the character, of the superhero, so we can find out more about who they are. And it just makes the whole experience a little bit more fun and not as monotonous. So we have that, and if you guys, as always, if you want to reach out to me for questions, comments, requests, concerns, critiques, feedback, I love it all. You can send me an email at b4itall@yahoo.com, or you can catch me on Twitter at b4itall1, so b4itall1. On Twitter, and use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. All one word. It's all great. And also, just a quick shout out. This is also going to be on YouTube, so you can catch this on YouTube with a slideshow of the character's artwork, so you can actually see the character as we're talking about it, and kind of imagine stuff on your own too. So yeah. Let's get into this. Marcus, have you enjoyed looking at the stuff for Stingray so far?
Actually, yeah, he kind of looks like the Falcon except robotized.
Okay, that's actually not a bad analogy. His costume, in my opinion, is one of the coolest in comic books. I absolutely love his costume. So look him up one way or the other because he's definitely worth it. Let's get into this. Like his real name is Walter Newell, which is a terrible name. I don't know how they got that one, but and he was originally an oceanographer working for the United States government. So he's there. He's just kind of doing his own thing. He encounters Namor the Submariner and Lady Dorma, who was the Submariner's girlfriend at the time, and Newell was actually supervising the construction of like this domed subsea underwater city, whose purpose was to harvest food for mankind. So they were going to use the seabed to harvest food and help feed the world. So that's pretty cool. The city, however, is attacked and destroyed by the villain named the Plunderer. Newell aids Namor and Lady Dorma against the villain, the Tiger Shark, who is also there. And he's also coerced by the government into investigating the disappearance of water from the Earth's oceans. I don't quite understand that part. I think that was kind of a reach because, like you can notice we all notice sea levels going up or sea levels going down, but you can't necessarily be like someone is stealing water from the Earth's oceans. That just doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. But this is later attributed to aliens who are believed to be in league with Namor the Submariner. I don't quite get that. I think that's all a reach. This is probably pure 90s comic book writing at its finest. So Newell is ordered to capture Namor. So he develops a suit based on the form of the manta ray and calls himself Stingray. He captures Namor, who is weakened at the time, and Newell believes that Namor is innocent, allows him to escape. Stingray then aids Namor and the Inhuman Triton against a group of Atlanteans who destroy an ocean liner and falsely claim to have done so for Namor. So they're trying to frame Namor, because that's just the kind of guy Namor is. He's always kind of in the middle of things. The culprit is revealed to be an Atlantean warlord named Atuma, who is eventually defeated. Stingray assists Namor in the search for his father, Leonard Mackenzie, with Mackenzie being accidentally killed in a battle with the villains Lyra and Tiger Shark. And in a major FU moment, the Stingray goes and actually meets Tiger Shark's sister and marries her. So now Tiger Shark is his brother-in-law.
I think that might be very wrong.
I don't know. But basically his character is someone that, like, whenever the Avengers have some kind of aquatic Avenger, Stingray is called in. He's actually listed as an associate member of the Avengers, so he never actually really got, like the nod from the major heroes. And honestly, I think he's okay with that. I think that he's fine just kind of being a background character. Now, personality-wise, he's pretty boring, which is why I think he's okay with it. But, he could be so much more. He really could be. He's got the most awesome costume. It's like white and red. He's like white, kind of like a white bodysuit with red boots, red gloves. And he's got kind of like this red starburst on his chest. His face mask goes completely over his face, and it's got this, it's a red face mask, and it's got a white, the best way to put it is like a downward arrow kind of thing, like over the face part.
Like for like an avatar kind of.
Okay. Like yeah. So he was before Avatar: The Last Airbender, but he's got that thing, and it looks cool, and it's got like this giant red cape that kind of connects at his ankles and his wrist. So it comes out almost like a stylized upside down triangle, but it looks like, like the manta flaps or wings or something. So it's really cool looking. It's really, really cool looking. And that's why I think he could be so much more than just background character. But his powers. Walter Newell has a gifted intellect and has a PhD in oceanography. He is an experienced oceanographer and a skilled inventor of experimental oceanographic equipment. Of course, because everything around this guy's life involves dealing with the ocean. As Stingray, his armor gives him enhanced strength and toughness. He can also breathe underwater with it. So it acts kind of like gills. Like it has a system where it filters the oxygen from the water. So he can breathe, without like a tank or anything like that. He can just function. And the wings and stuff can let him swim fast and glide through the air for long distances. His suit also lets him shoot electric bolts of up to 20,000 volts.
And also, that's what makes him glide through the water so fast, apparently. Like, okay. He doesn't wiggle or anything. He doesn't even wiggle his legs. It just...
Okay.
But it's not, like, shocking everything around him. It's just, like, shocking enough to where it won't kill the environment around it or, like, nor electrocute it. It's just enough to make it go.
Okay. Awesome. Now, relationship-wise, there's really not any kind of relationship. He's a happily married man. He has a daughter. And his brother-in-law is the villain Tiger Shark. Which, Tiger Shark is kind of a cool-looking character. If I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, it's kind of like a orange suit with like a purple head. And he's got this big fin that goes like down his back. And he's got tiger stripes on it, and he's got claws and feet claws. So I mean, It's,
Also,
yeah.
he's basically like a tiger shark. I mean,
Yes.
that's in his name.
Yes, absolutely. So fun facts. Stingray appears in the video game Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. He helped Captain America, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and Thor claim a shard of the Nexus of all realities from Atuma. And he also appears in the Iron Man series in the Armor Wars storyline, where Iron Man thinks that Stingray stole his armor tech to become the Stingray, and he kind of yells at him, and they do whatever, and then it turns out Stingray did it on his own. So we just let that be it. I mean, he's been fairly ignored throughout the Marvel history. One other fun fact I found out, it's barely worth mentioning, but at one point Deadpool was kind of made like a Deadpool Corps, to do jobs for hire. And Stingray was actually in it. He was the orange Deadpool. So, because all the Deadpools that he recruited had different colors. So he was in that. Then he realized he wasn't getting paid for it, and he left because F you, that's why. No, it's Deadpool. There's really not a whole lot of reasoning that you need in any Deadpool story. But yeah, that's a lot of his character. Did I miss anything? Is there anything you'd like to add? Feel free to let me know. Like I said, you can catch me on Twitter at b4itall1, or you can email me at b4itall@yahoo.com and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. And now we're coming to the part where it's my absolute favorite part of the show. We're going to do power expansions. And this is where we take the character, we look at their power set, we look at their levels, their personality, things like that, and we can try to imagine them in like a new storyline for a comic book, or if they can fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if they can go on the shows, if they can have their own show, stuff like that. Like how could their character be used? So Marcus and I were thinking, and we came up with a really good idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put the idea out, and then we'll let Marcus expand on it, and we'll kind of go back and forth like that. Now, keep in mind, my son is 9 years old. He'll be 10 in a month. He'll be 10 at the end of May. So, a lot of these things you may hear are coming from a 9-year-old. So don't be too quick to criticize a 9-year-old. We'll let him have his fun, and we'll kind of refine it from there. Especially because sometimes that young imagination can be the best imagination of all. Right, Marcus? Okay. Okay.
But are we on power expansions now?
Yes. Yeah, that's just what I was talking about.
Oh, but
I haven't given any information yet.
But what if it's possible, what if he had like Hulk powers?
No, that's not what we mean. That's not what we mean by power expansions. So just let me get into this part and we'll go from there, okay? Okay. All right, so let's try this. Power expansions. So I want to give the Stingray the Falcon MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe treatment. Essentially. When I say this, I mean, let's introduce him in the upcoming Namor movie that they're making, because, it all relates to the ocean and relates to water. We can introduce him as the Walter Newell character, and we can actually have Tony Stark give him the Stingray armor. And that'll help feed into things in the future, like the Armor Wars storyline, if they ever want to go into that. Stuff like that. But let's have Tony Stark actually give him the Stingray armor. He can then assist Namor in his adventures and be kind of that middleman between the Atlantean world and the human world. Because if you look at Namor, his character essentially is the reverse of Aquaman. How Aquaman was the half Atlantean, half human, but he was always raised as a human and rejected by the Atlanteans. Namor is kind of the opposite. He's half Atlantean, half human, but he was raised by the Atlanteans and kind of rejected the human world. So let's have him be that kind of buffer zone between it. And from there, Stingray can kind of start doing his own thing, but stay under that Namor umbrella and even the Iron Man umbrella, as he builds his own character and he has his own charm that develops with it. This can then lead to like further appearances, like any of the future Avengers movies, and if there's another Iron Man movie that delves into the Armor Wars, he can be a part of that, and he could also be a prominent character. Because if let's say he's an adult, we know that Marvel Cinematic Universe is gonna start to develop a Young Avengers. So what if he is in that as a kind of like a mentor type character, or that voice of reason and wisdom? Because with youth they can be a little impulsive. So what if he is in that? Because he's still young in his adventures, but he's got that wisdom that that can be handy. Let's see. Comic book wise, I think he's got one of the coolest costumes I've ever seen, and I'd love to be able to actually see that on the screen. But I mean, he's just not a really interesting character in the comic books. He needs to be rebuilt. And the fact that he's always been called like an oceanographer with a cape, to me, is perfect, because it basically gives him nothing but a skeleton or a foundation to build that character upon. So, what do you think, Marcus? Where do you think we could go with the character?
I wasn't listening.
We talked about putting him in the Namor movie, with Namor the Submariner, and kind of be in that buffer zone. That's something that we talked about earlier. What else could he do? Like, do you think he can work with the Young Avengers even though he's a little bit older? I mean, he doesn't have to be super old. He can be in his late 20s or even like mid 20s maybe.
I don't think he should teach the new
Avengers
because like I think he might be a little too skilled and like not like kind of teacher worthy unless it's like 19-year-olds, then maybe like very grown teenagers going into their adulthood.
Yeah, that's kind of how it would be. They would be young adults, so they'd be late teens, early 20s. If they did the Stingray right, he could be in his late 20s and early 30s, which isn't that old, and he doesn't have to train them. He doesn't have to teach the kids anything. It's just when you hit a certain age, you get that wisdom. So like, they can be like, we need to go and attack here, and he can be like, wait, let's hold on, let's examine this. And
that would be cool as a child since he knows how like when a stingray feels threatened or something. What if he actually had a stingray pet that died while he was a child? So but he learned all his moves because he wanted to be a superhero or something like that.
I don't know. I mean, do stingrays make good pets?
I mean, I think so because I've actually went to a pet exhibit and they're so cute.
Yes, stingrays are awesome to pet, but I don't know if they actually make good pets. Any of our listeners out there, do stingrays make good pets? Can they be tamed? Can they be good companions? Let us know. Comment on Twitter or on the YouTube video or however you're listening. Email me. Let me know. Because I don't know. I mean, they could, maybe, I guess. I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But yeah, so we have so much that can be done with the character, though. And that's one of the things I love is the fact that, there's just not a lot done with it. It makes it really hard to build on, but there's so many possibilities to build on the character. So if you had a movie with the Stingray character, would you want his outfit to be pretty consistent with how it is in the comics that we saw?
I would actually like him to actually have like something that like one of those faces that one of the stingrays have. I mean, I think that would get it like maybe a villain will laugh or something, and he can be like Spider-Man or something. Like, hey, I thought this was a good thing, or something, or like whoop his A while they're laughing, so where they can't really fight back because they're.
So you want him to have a face on his stomach,
Like a stingray.
like a stingray would, so he can kick his A while people are laughing at him.
Yeah, or he could just get a Deadpool-like moment.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, oh, I thought this was good, though.
I think you and I have two very different ideas for movies. Yeah, I think you and I are in. I don't even think we're on the same page. I think we're in different books, in a whole different series of stories. I'm not sure. Okay. So what else do you think we could do with the character?
Nah. I mean, he can already kind of jump out of the water really far up. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to give him a gun for land.
You want to give him, but he can shoot like these electric bolts out of his hands.
Oh, I thought he could only do that out of the.
No, he can do it. He can do it normally. So.
Oh, well, maybe like give him a sword or like maybe a mechanic on his chest.
With the face.
Maybe. I mean, where, like, what if he's like about to get his arms ripped off or something, so he can't really like electrocute.
Okay.
Because there's nothing to bounce off of. Then he has little mechanics in his chest that go like, whee.
Okay.
And then let him get free, and then he goes like.
Okay. Maybe. What if we're completely off base with this, and what if Disney Plus takes the Stingray character, makes him look pretty cool, and does like a children's program where they explore the ocean and do like an educational thing for all these fish and things like that with the superhero Stingray.
Then it's gotta have some comedy.
It's got well, I mean, it should definitely have comedy. Maybe that'll fit the face on his chest
like,
at that point.
It's got to have like Deadpool comedy, but like childproof.
Okay. Oh, childproof Deadpool comedy.
Because.
Oh, good luck with that.
I mean, the.
Okay.
Person is not.
All right. I think we've come to some really good conclusions here. I think we've had a lot of fun with this. Have you had fun so far?
Yeah, just imagine.
Okay.
This is probably the best 25 minutes of my life.
No, let's not say that. I'm sure you've had more because, believe it or not, this is the guy that I'm talking to right now. He went and outfished me this week like a boss. We went fishing at a neighbor's, like at a friend's lake, and I caught absolutely nothing. And I think you caught 3 fish this week?
2 fish, and they were the same one.
2 fish, okay. 2 fish this week, but you caught another one the next day, right?
Yeah.
So you caught 3 fish. Even if they were the same fish, it still counts. Because that fish was still dumb enough to be caught multiple times. So he caught 3 fish. I caught nothing.
Except moss.
Except seagrass and whatever. But he schooled me. He schooled me like a boss. So he's on the podcast. But we're going to head out. Everyone, be blessed. Be happy. Be smart. If you're not smart, don't get caught. And we will catch you next week with Superhero Deep Dive. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.
Wait, Also, I'm gonna teach my dad how to play Minecraft, so I'm gonna school him if I get the chance.
Okay, so he's gonna school me on Minecraft because that's what we're doing. So everyone be good out there. See you later. Bye-bye.